How was it dealing with money and making sure that, you know, things make sense for you financially? Because once you start making a few coins here and there and you start making a profit, sometimes the urge as human beings is to treat yourself, you know, Patia Janet Asanti. So now how are you able, especially starting out, how was it starting out? How was it managing finances and putting it back into the business? How was the journey financially?
So, yeah, there are those instances when I tell myself, Pole, and you know, you spend a big chunk of the profits, but the thing is that it affects the business. You see the effect almost, you know, a few months down the line. Like the growth is probably now, you know,
It's
not
stagnating.
Yes, it's stagnating. So now over time, after opening the physical location, I now realize that, whoa, I need to be keen about finances. There are now bills that need to be paid. I got to learn about how to separate, you know, like the working capital, the profits and all this. And that is how we were actually able to scale to a different location, like a bigger location.
Hello and welcome to the Millionaire Mind. My name is Turi Faye. Joining us today, our guest has managed to turn her motherhood experience into a way to make some little coin, yeah? And it's a very inspiring journey. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining us. Please introduce yourself and what you do.
Thank you, Turi, for having me. My name is Janet Waithera, and I'm an entrepreneur. I am behind the brand Mama and Mini. Mama and Mini is a brand that is very passionate about motherhood and childcare, and that is essentially what we do. Yes.
Okay. And when you say motherhood and childcare, we have seen the brand on social media. We have seen you work with a few influencers here and there. But what exactly is the service of Mama and Mini, and how did it start?
I think let me start from the beginning. So in 2017, just after campus, I landed a job in an advertising agency, and I happened to manage a brand that was related to mothers and babies, everything to do with motherhood and childcare. Yeah, and so at the time, you know, now managing a brand that has to do with babies and all that, then it means that you have to equip yourself with information that is related to motherhood and childcare. Yeah, I was not a mother at the time, but so it meant doing a lot of research, learning a lot from experts that were around me that knew more about motherhood and babies. And I think that's a time when now the interest in me was sparked around things to do with childcare and motherhood, and seeing the need for information on some very basic needs around childcare, motherhood, things that most mothers do not know about. So they depend on some of the brands that that take a step of, you know, sharing information, sharing tips on how to raise your baby, sharing tips on how to use like skincare products, because the brand itself dealt with baby products. So at the time there was yes, like this need for mothers to I'm lost.
For mothers to provide to get information.
Yes.
Or rather support.
Yes, support. Actually, support is the word. Yes. So the brand gave support to mothers through information and having conversations. Yes.
Awesome. And now, when you were starting Mama and Mini, you've said the things that sparked the idea. When did you start, and how was that process?
So after managing the brand for around 2 years, I now became a mom, and personally I felt the need of sharing my own personal journey of pregnancy and you know, birth and delivery, caring for my baby at the time with other mothers, to just make sure that, you know, someone else does not struggle with the things that I have struggled with. Yes, so that's when it started.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's one thing to provide information to, especially to first-time moms. And I remember, you know, getting on the internet and being overwhelmed by a lot of information, and you can't really quite figure out what is actually correct, what is true, what is someone's opinion, what worked for them. So there's a lot of information out there, and it's one thing to provide information just to help out people. But now, how did you convert that into a way to make money for you, or to a way that made financial sense to you?
Okay, so initially when I started, it was just a platform where I share my own personal journey of pregnancy and motherhood. And then I had to now look for a way in which I will connect with mothers. And so it started by now selling items that mothers need, like to raise their children and all that. So by this way, I'm able to connect with mothers. You know, most of my clients will now come in and, you know, we find ourselves having conversations related to, you know, childcare. So this is your experience, this is my experience, these are the challenges that I'm going through. And almost every time that we'll have a conversation with a mom, there are so many things that, you know, I realize that we have in common as mothers, so many struggles, so many challenges, so many joys that are in common. And I think now building on those conversations, and then now, you know, just as a value add, now someone feels the need now to probably purchase or buy an item that is going to help them with raising their babies.
That is actually quite smart, because a huge demographic of people who have purchasing powers is moms, because there's always the need for something. So, you know, seeing that niche and providing that service is actually quite smart. Now, what are the, you know, products that Mama and Mini sells?
Mama and Mini essentially deals with all the clothing essentials that you will need to raise your baby. So our target market is mostly moms who are expecting, and also moms who have babies under 5 years of age. Yeah, so at the moment we currently deal with all the necessary clothing essentials, anything you'd think about in relation to clothing, clothes, you know, things, wraps,
Rompers,
and yes,
bumpers.
rompers, all those things. So that is what we have in our store. And what is now unique about Mama and Mini is that we have a special service. We understand, number one, that you know, when you're expectant, and one of the things that moms find very overwhelming is, you know,
Going
shopping.
to look for clothes.
Yes, going to look for clothes, and especially for moms who are very busy, professional women who are running their businesses. Sometimes shopping can be something that, you know, you probably push up to the final trimesters, probably because, and mostly it's because people probably are not able to identify what you need. This is probably for the first time moms. You're not able to identify what you need, what your baby will need, you know, in the first year. And so we provide that service in form of information. You know, we guide mothers on what they're supposed to buy, for what season, what quality, because, you know, also babies tend to be very sensitive. Some have very sensitive skin. So we will guide you on, you know, probably the first 3 months, don't go for things that could irritate the baby's skin. Don't go for fabric that is probably going to irritate your baby's skin. Don't go for, depending on the season that you'll probably give birth, go for probably lighter clothes. If it's going to be very cold, go for things that are probably warmer. Yes, and then so we also for moms who are not able to come to a physical store, we have a special delivery service where we visit our moms in their homes. So it's called like the Mama and Mini home delivery service, where we come with all the essentials that you need. The moms who want to shop for items that will serve them probably for a whole year. You know, like from 0 to 1 year, you don't want to go back to the market looking for things. Also because, you know, one thing that moms come to realize is that babies outgrow clothes very fast.
Very fast.
Yes,
very
1
minute
fast.
It's a size 0, the next it's 8.
Yes. So most of them just ask, you know what, why don't you bring me items that will serve me and my baby for the rest of the year? So we are always glad to offer the convenience to them.
Awesome.
Yes.
And what I'm getting from all of this is you're trying to make motherhood as convenient as possible, as easy as it doesn't have to be such a hassle. So now when it comes to now your clients and dealing with them, what steps have you taken to making sure that it makes sense financially for them? Because it is making sense financially to you. You know, you're making money out of this, you're selling your services to them, and you're getting returns from it. But now on their end, because not everyone can afford store-bought items, not everyone can afford very brand new items, how do you meet your client halfway?
That's a very good question, Tori, because moms really struggle to buy new items, store-bought items, the kinds that are new, because they're quite expensive. You know, babies go through very many clothes at a very short period of time. So, you know, moms want to arm themselves with, you know, as many clothes as possible. Yeah, so that's when now we opted to do thrifted items. Very good quality, almost new, you know, picked with, you know, mommy and baby in mind. Yeah, so very good quality, and we serve a wide array of women. You know, we serve women with a very tight budget, women who, you know, are willing to spend a bit more, and so far so good. They're quite comfortable buying clothes, and what they realize, especially with the packages, is that they will get clothes that will serve them for a good number of time, like a good period.
Okay.
Yes.
And do you exclusively do thrifted items, or do you sometimes also cater for people who prefer store-bought items?
So there's some items that we stock that are new, because now getting thrifted, you know, getting them in like thrifted form, we don't get very good quality, but a majority, I'd say like 80% are thrifted. Yes.
Okay. And now how now did you get into now doing the thrifting yourself? Because not everyone is well connected. We've heard of horror stories of somebody who wanted to buy a bale, or, you know, wanted to start selling thrifted items, and they go out there and the expectation is not met. So now, do you have connections? Do you have a sure way to make sure that what you get is actually quality?
Initially, when I started, let me talk about my own experience, because before even I started the business itself, when I needed items for my babies, I'd do the market visits, and I think, you know, now you become familiar, you know, you go more frequently, you realize also maybe I should probably try this side of the market. And so by the time I am now opening the business, one thing is I knew where to get my items, but it was a struggle at first, because, you know, now I wanted to get items for resale. Yeah, so probably the quantities are different, the quality is different. Now it was a struggle in the beginning, because, you know, even the suppliers in the market, it is not easy for them to trust you, because for sure they know that you're starting. You know, you go talk to someone and you let them, you tell them that, you know, you're just starting business. It takes time for the trust to grow, for them to even let you know, oh, we have new stuff, you should probably come and get. So it has been a journey. It was not easy in the beginning, but right now, even after forming the relationships, I'd say things have gotten better, things have improved.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you started as an online platform. It was purely online. You do the deliveries, and it's just that. So now, how was the transition from an online platform to now having a physical location?
When we started, it was strictly online. I did online for strictly online, no physical location, for about 6 months. So just sharing the items online and making the deliveries myself, either going physically with items in my cupboard, or sending parcels for clients that I could not go and visit physically. And then after a while, I started a boot shop. I do boot sales, you know, within the estate. I realized that in my area there was no shop where I could get items myself. So I thought, you know what, let me go and open my cupboard in the evening. Moms would come and buy, and over time it grew such that anytime I'd miss to go to like the different spots I used to go to, I'd get inquiries of moms asking, where can we find you? I want my friend to come over, where can they come? So we thought of now opening our first physical location, just a very small store, very few items at the time. did that for 1 year. It scaled and grew, and now we felt the need of now opening a bigger space where we could store more items. And I'd say that it has been quite good. So far, so good. Now the transition from online, but it doesn't mean that we are not doing online. Still a very good percentage, probably like 70% of our clients, yes, and our orders are from online clients.
Okay.
Yes.
So would you say having a physical location versus having an online platform, which one makes sense, you know, more to you? And at the end of the day, is there really need for a physical location?
I'd say this one now depends on the nature of someone's business. Like in our case, in the beginning, selling online only made sense because at the time, I did not have the financial muscle to probably even take care of things like rent, electricity, getting more staff to help me. But as the business grew is when now I realized, even for the sake of, you know, when you're selling stuff online, not everybody is going to trust that what you ordered is what you deliver, yes. So for the sake even for authenticity and for the moms who, a very good number of moms wanted to come and physically buy from the store. Yeah, it also contributed to the fact to us now opening a physical location. Yes. Okay. So it depends. I'd say it's number one, the nature of your business and probably the stage in which your business is at. Yes.
For the brand Mama and Mini, we've just been seeing an upward trajectory. It's just been a whole success story. So now we have to ask the very uncomfortable question of finances and money. How was it dealing with money and making sure that, you know, things make sense for you financially? Because once you start making a few coins here and there and you start making a profit, sometimes the urge as human beings is to treat yourself, you know, Patia Janet Asanti. So now how are you able, especially starting out, how was it starting out? How was it managing finances and putting it back into the business? How was the journey financially?
So when I started off, I started with very little capital, you know, family support. And at the time, I was not very keen on the finances and, you know, like even pumping more money, you know, the profits into the business. Yeah, there are those instances when I'd tell myself, Pole, and, you know, you spend a big chunk of the profits. But the thing is that it affects the business. You see the effect almost, you know, a few months down the line, like the growth is probably now, you know,
it's
not
stagnating.
Yes, it's stagnating. So now over time, after opening the physical location, I now realize that, whoa, I need to be keen about finances. There are now bills that need to be paid. So I went and enrolled for an entrepreneurship training. It was very insightful. I got to learn about how to manage my finances. I got to learn about how to separate, you know, like the working capital, the profits and all this. And that is how we were actually able to scale to a different location, like a bigger location, because now the more keen you are with your finances and the numbers are everything when it comes to running a business, no matter how small, no matter how big. You know, these businesses that sometimes we probably look down upon, you know, the ones that are in the estates, for someone to have their business running for years, it's probably because they're very keen on their numbers. Yeah, and that is a skill that I've had to learn, that it's important at the end of the day to understand where is my business, you know. Also having targets, it's important to have targets. Yeah, what do you want to do in the coming month? It helps you to even challenge yourself, to even do more.
True.
Yes.
You had mentioned your background in ad and marketing, but now when it comes to marketing your own business and doing it for yourself, what methods have actually worked for you?
In terms of marketing, I would say online marketing, talking to friends and family, letting them know. Yes, I'm not shy about what I do because I am passionate about it. I love it. And sometimes, you know, it could be that you're probably not in a position to even acquire my service, probably because you don't need it. You're not a mom, or you don't have kids. But I could tell you about my business, and the next time someone else inquires about services that Mama and Mini offers, you just share the word. So it has been, our growth has been greatly contributed by online marketing and even referrals. Referrals have just been amazing. Yes, they have really helped us to grow our business.
Awesome.
Yes.
And what would you say are the competition that you're facing right now? What is actually a force of resistance right now for the brand Mama and Mini?
For the brand Mama, in terms of competition has always been there. It is something that I have come to embrace. Initially you get scared and you feel threatened, but the truth is that the competition that is there, we have many outlets, many mom dealing, with running businesses the way we do. Many moms who are passionate about providing services like we do. And so what I have come to realize is that competition is good. It pushes you now to go beyond what you thought you would initially.
True.
And also it's a good place, it's a good space. I don't look at the other business owners, who probably run a similar business to mine as competition, really. They are also people who I can learn things from. Yes, each business is unique because we are all different. The way our minds operate differently. When I started, I have come to evolve because initially it was just clothes that would serve moms between 0 to probably even 11 years. But over time now I've come to narrow down to a specific target, like the segment of newborn moms, babies below 5 years, because I have realized that's a market that works for me. When I talk to my buddy who runs a business like mine, the best target audience for them is probably teenagers, because they feel that there's a need in that segment. So competition is there. It is there. It is quite intense, but it is something that I think every business person has to embrace, and you look at it as an opportunity to help you to scale. Yes.
And speaking of the things that business people have to embrace, there's always the imposter syndrome that sometimes kicks in. So have you had an instance where you've asked yourself, am I creating a niche? Am I serving a niche? Am I creating a service that was needed by moms? Or am I exploiting a weakness in the system? Has that ever occurred to you?
Well, when I started, it was from my own personal experience. Like I felt, let me talk about a period just before I got my twin boys in 2020. So, COVID was happening, and it was very hard to source for items. So I remember I had to go to a shop that was located at a very different location from what I'm used to, like quite far, to get the items that I needed. And so what I realized at the time is now there's a need. There's this need, like within my locality, of these items. So it is not really, I wouldn't call it exploiting.
Yeah.
It is just meeting a need that is there.
True.
And actually, I would say what motivated me the most was there's a trouble that people have with getting quality items. Yes, like quality items. So how about I now that I know where the market is located, now that I have my own personal experience, I know, like I got my children the best, so why not do the same for another mom
else? Exactly.
Yes.
Awesome. And this show is all about focusing on women in business. So what would you say have been the highlights you've experienced as a woman in business, and at the same time, what have been the challenges you've experienced?
Personally, I'd say it's important for women to believe in themselves. Yeah, when you're starting, it doesn't matter the kind of business that you're running. It doesn't matter you know, the kind of challenges that you experience, it's very important for you to believe in yourself, because the journey of an entrepreneur is probably very easy at the get-go when you're starting, because it's probably very exciting. You know, you have all these goals and dreams, and you can see yourself scaling to, you know, your returns. Yes, the dream is there, but I mean, reality. The more now you get into the business, the reality hits you on issues to do with, you know, low seasons. Like right now, with the economy, you know, sometimes there's someone who's going to wonder, do I restock? Do I get more clothes rather for my children, or do I buy food? Yeah, because there are challenges. There are those challenges and those seasons where business is quite low, and it pushes you now to become very innovative and creative in terms of how you deliver. Yes, you put yourself out there. Yeah, it challenges you. Yeah, so I've had my moments, where, especially like I'd say the beginning of 2023, all the way up to probably mid-year, things were really tough, you know, economically for many people, and businesses were affected. But you have to encourage yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You have to remind yourself, why did I start this business?
Exactly.
That is what keeps you going.
And speaking of creative ways to, you know, keep your business relevant, what would you say are the creative methods you've used with Mama and Minnie, especially on social platforms and the digital platforms in general?
I'd say moms really enjoy, or rather they really appreciate when we share like the items as they are in the condition that they are in, and even explaining this is how you should use like the items. Yes, storytelling actually. Yeah, storytelling, you know, sharing people's personal experiences, having conversations, you know, even sharing just, sometimes, you know, I just put up a post on probably an issue to do with breastfeeding. Yes, and it sparks a lot of conversation, yes. So just sharing these tidbits, apart from, you know, like what we sell, what we give, there are these other things that moms find very helpful. Yes.
Okay. And very quickly, what are your competitions right now?
We have very many local outlets that provide the service that we offer. We have businesses that are now people have embraced entrepreneurship, and so each and every day, you know, you'll find there's someone who's set up even next door, who's probably offering the same service. You embrace it, and you know, you say
the pie is big enough for everyone.
Yes, and that's the truth actually. That's a thing I think. Over time, as a business person, you come to appreciate that, you know, sometimes I could be stocking an item that a client wants, and they came to my neighbor's store. They are not able to find it. So the neighbor, you know, if you're open-minded, refer the client to me. I'd do the same. Yes, because the market is too big. Sometimes I imagine if I'm given the whole of Nairobi, like to supply the moms located in Nairobi, it is very difficult. Yeah, so competition is good. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Competition is good.
Awesome. And as we are winding up, I know we are not prophets and we can't see the future, but what would you say, where do you see Mama and Minnie as a brand in maybe 2 years or 5 years?
When it comes to 2 years or 5 years, probably a brand that is offering more in terms of value add. Apart from the items that we sell, we'll probably have a place where moms can come in for consultations on issues relating to motherhood, relating to childcare, basically like their maternal well-being. We're looking to the future. We want to bring in experts to help mothers, you know, debunk some of the myths that, you know, revolve around motherhood, to help them enjoy, because, you know, this is a journey that is quite demanding, but also at the same time it is very rewarding. Yeah, so we want mothers to enjoy motherhood and childcare, and, you know, have a good time doing it.
Because it is difficult. It is sometimes the ghetto. But as we are winding up, what is your parting shot?
My parting shot is from one mom to another. this is a divine responsibility. You know, motherhood is, it changes you, it makes you better. So embrace it. Embrace the challenges, embrace the beauty, embrace everything about it.
Okay.
Yes.
And where can we find you on socials?
On social, we are Mama and Minnie on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Yes, and are always available on WhatsApp. Our numbers are on all social media platforms. Yes.
And your physical location?
Our physical location is along Lumumba Drive, Roysambu.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you
you,
for educating us and telling us and encouraging mothers out there who are a bit overwhelmed. I know from my experience I was very overwhelmed. So having a service like yours really helps people along the way, and we are grateful. Thank you for joining us. As always, if you would like to chime in to the conversation, the number is 0770 729 366. And we will see you next week. Goodbye.